Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. Dusty and Hus back with you once again on the Nielsen Media Coolbet Network. Big day in the National Hockey League. Edmonton Oilers in action, trying not to go down 3-1. And the Toronto Maple Leafs in action, trying to get a series to 3-1. Hus, this is a huge night in Canada.
Well, it is, and I guess we'll get to the Leafs. Patty's going to come on from the GTA. We'll see how things are going on there. Although I have to admit, did you just say it's 2-1 Vegas in this series?
It is 2-1 Vegas.
It sure seemed like it was 2-1 before they even dropped the puck of Game 3, which is strange because there had only been 2 games played. But do you not get that feeling that after the way the Oilers beat
one game
Vegas
2, yeah,
in Game 2, and with the longer break, it just seemed like the Oilers were already ahead in that series. It sort of seemed like they played a little bit like it as well. And the Vegas Golden Knights, take it from a Jet fan that watched what happened in the first round after they got punched in the mouth and what they did the other side. This is happening again. And
I wanted to ask you, I was like, consider what you saw with Vegas versus Winnipeg. Are you seeing something similar here against the Oilers?
Well, I mean, in Game 3, I sure as heck did. I mean, that was the Vegas Golden Knights. And hey, they have been a way better team at 5-on-5. I mean, and I know special teams is a big part. And when you're as good as Edmonton drawing the penalties that they do, you got to deal with that power play. But it was pretty clear what Vegas wanted to do in game number 3. That was keep it to 5-on-5. And to be honest, they dominated at 5-on-5. And Vegas did not start well in the series against Winnipeg. I mean, the first four periods of the series were dominated by the Jets. And in the second half of that game 2, they got punched in the mouth. The Jets did have that nice comeback to get it to overtime, a double overtime in game 3, but lost. And then really after that, Vegas flexed their muscles. And that looked like the team in game 3 against Edmonton that really soundly humbled the Jets and eliminated them in game number 5. So, I'll say this. I like many people, and I joke about the 2-1 lead. I was feeling that same way going in. I mean, this is a fait accompli. Take care of business at home. Vegas reminded everyone there's a reason why, even with everything they had going on this season, they were the number 1 team in the West, doing it with a revolving door of goaltenders, which is now part of the series as well. And it sets up for a very, very interesting game tonight.
Well, let's get right into it because Pat's going to join us momentarily. But let's slide into these NHL games tonight here, Hus. And it's funny, we're both on an over here, but in different games tonight. So your thoughts on that Leafs money line play?
Well, listen, this is they can't possibly get swept bet.
Yeah,
and they can't possibly be anywhere near as bad as they were in game number 3. I thought a lot about what Rick Bowness had to say about the Jets after game 5, after game 3. Like, where was the pushback? Where are the top players? They're hearing all of this as much as they say they don't listen to it. And this is, I mean, win or lose, they need to come up with a big, big performance tonight just for their own reputations, I think. And I believe they'll do that. I got enough confidence in the top players on that Leafs team that, you know, they'll be a heck of a lot better. So I'm going to take them on the money line. It's nice. This number has gone down. It was minus 123 for the last couple days. And now it seems like it's getting a little closer to a pick. I'll rock with the Leafs money line. And as they say, I'm nervous about Vegas and what they've done. I didn't want to jump on the reg pick. I think the number for the money line is maybe a little too juiced. So I'm going to take the over 6.5. But I will say this, the one guy that I will bet on, and if this happens, they win the game, I'm sure. Connor McDavid to have a monster game tonight. Over 2.5 points for McDavid.
Oh, baby.
170. So we've talked a lot, and I've benefited a lot from Draisaitl throughout. I think this is a game that McDavid takes over tonight. So if I had to bet, I'll take the Oilers. But
what did you say that number was, Hus? On McDavid, over 2.5 on McDavid? What'd you say the number was?
Plus 170.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you said plus 170, I was like, but that's just what people expect, right? Like, it's just, he's phenomenal.
Hey, I mean, you know, and listen, especially when that power play gets going. he's due for a big monster game. His team needs it right now, and he is the superstar of the league. I think he comes up with a big one. The Leafs can hope that they get that sort of a performance from some of their guys tonight.
I think Connor McDavid shows up in this game big time. I've got an exclusive that's at plus 625 right now. You can find that over at Coolbet. We'll get to that in just a moment. I am going to get in the Oilers in regulation. They were not good last game. That was their worst game of the playoffs. They're at home tonight. They have to have this. I think there's a big bounce back coming. And, if they work harder than they did last game, they will draw penalties. And when they draw penalties, they're going to score power play goals. So I would expect them to contribute in that aspect of it tonight as well, as long as they get a steady performance. Not even a brilliant performance, but a steady performance from Stuart Skinner. I would think Edmonton in regulation is the value play here tonight at minus 112, because I am with Hus. The minus 170 on the money line doesn't intrigue me too much. And you talked about Toronto's big guns. I'm with you. And because of that, I'm going to hop on the over 6.5 here, because I think Florida's going to score goals in this game too. I don't see Toronto winning a tight, low-scoring game to keep things alive. Their big boys are going to have to step up, and I think Florida can match them in the end and hit this over 6.5. So I'm getting the over 6.5 here at minus 129 tonight. Mostly because I'm just kind of, I don't know where to go on the money line, because the Leafs shouldn't be swept tonight, but I didn't think they'd be down 3-0 either, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out.
Well, the other question, and you'll have to ask Pat about this.
Let's bring him in.
Yeah, I'm making a bet on Matthews and Marner showing up and doing something. Both the Leafs and Vegas will be starting new goaltenders tonight. Of course, Aiden Hill taking over for Laurent Brossoit. But Patty, obviously this is a dire situation, and I know people are looking for a little bit of positivity, but just focusing on the net minding, thoughts on Woll getting the start, his place in the Moose, and the opportunity for him to maybe go in and get a little momentum that hasn't been there for the last 3 games against Maurice's Panthers.
Well, certainly goaltending hasn't been the issue for this team all series long. Yeah, there's been some goals that Samsonov probably wants back, but I think this is exactly it. Yeah, it's a spark that they desperately need. It's do or die. Thanks for the reminder, Austin Matthews, after game 3. No duh, it's do or die. But I like how he came in. Yeah, sure, he got undressed on that breakaway goal, but again, that probably shouldn't have been a breakaway. I think he's been solid, like all year long that we've seen him, especially down the stretch when they were doing, salary cap gymnastics to try to figure things out. He got a lot of starts and he looked great. I think he's going to be a quality goaltender. He's just kind of thrust into this situation here. And let's be honest, they need more than just goaltending. They need their big guns. You guys mentioned it. They got to come up big. Like, this is a legacy game. And of course, I'm not putting my hard-earned money on the Leafs. I never like to bet on the team that I cheer for anyways. But you mentioned it. Like, this isn't just to keep their season alive. This is to prove that Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews aren't perennial chokers and they don't fizzle when the moment is too big. And you look at even John Tavares, like, let's be honest, that contract is aging like a bag of milk right now. And he needs to prove that he can still come up in big moments. William Nylander is next year, his contract is up. There's always a lot about the naysayers about Willie's game. These guys got to be big. Like, let's be honest, the surrounding cast was fine last game. I thought, when Sam Lafferty and Camp Camp didn't score, but when Sam Lafferty and Camp are your 2 best forwards, like, that's bad.
That's trouble. But yeah, nothing against those guys, but that's not good.
It's great that they stepped up, and it's great that they provided that energy. But that is bad news bears if they're your top 2 forwards, considering how top heavy they should be.
Yeah, like if Fogle and Bukestad are the standouts for the Oilers, they're probably not winning. And, you can make that same comparison to Toronto.
Yeah, if you're losing a game where Gustafsson and Lafferty are scoring goals, like, that's an issue. Like, those are the games that you need to win. You absolutely need to win when your depth is scoring. It's just the big 4 haven't found the back of the net. So, it's a really weird, interesting time in Toronto. It seems like everyone's already given up, which I don't blame them.
Down 3-0, right? Like, yeah, understandable.
Yeah. That's another reason why I like them tonight.
Exactly. No pressure on them, really. Honestly, no pressure, because you can say all the pressure on the world is them, but really everyone's already given up. They talk about how they're not listening to what's going on outside of the room, believe it or not, but they know, like, this is
Yeah.
it, right? Like, it is do or die, but at the same time, everyone's kind of already written you off. We'll see
All
what
right.
happens.
Well, listen, because before we get to the golf, we were talking about a potential partner parlay. Well,
What are you
Justin,
thinking, Hus?
What do you think? We take the Leafs and we take the Oilers, the two
And?
Canadian teams. A lot of people want to run on that. And
Your lock of the
my
century of the
lock
week?
century of the week from the NBA, Warriors -7. I might take this if it was -17, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Listen, the Warriors are great at home. They're not so good on the road. I think this is going to be almost. Mike Greenberg suggested they rest LeBron for this game. Like the path. This is Lakers in 6. This is Lakers in 6. And if this game doesn't go well, I don't think they play LeBron a ton. I think they give a decent time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is like the scheduled loss, if you will. You know, in hockey on the 3 and 4 in the second end of back-to-backs. It's crazy. We're talking about a playoff game, a pivotal game 5, but I think the Lakers almost earned this spot. And I certainly don't think the Golden State Warriors, with their backs against the wall, are going to just lie down. So I think this is going to look like game 3 the other way. That was the game the Lakers blew them out by 30. I think we're talking about a massive double-digit win by the Warriors. So Warriors -7, and then what if you? I could go either way, but I think, you know, the two Canadian teams, along with the Warriors tonight, I think we might be on something.
I've watched every LeBron playoff game of his career, and you are 100% right. Like, if this game is close in the fourth quarter, I see LeBron and AD putting the hammer down and finishing this, but I just don't think it'll be close in the fourth quarter. And if that is the case, like, the Warriors don't win this game by 5. They lose it or they win it by 15 to 20, in my opinion. So it's just crazy. They're down 3-1 and they're 7-point favorites, but that's how the Warriors are. They're shit on the road. They're great at home. I mean, they'll shoot the ball well tonight. Klay Thompson will show up tonight. Steph, if needed, Steph could put up 30 or 40 tonight. They might not need that from him. So, you know, LeBron's teams in the last 20 years or 15 that he's been in the playoffs, this happens in these types of series, right? You get in the driver's seat, you get in a good spot, they rest a little bit, and then they finish it at home in game 6, or at least that would be the plan, which would be phenomenal if it goes to 7 back in Golden State. That would be incredible. But I'm totally endorsing the Lakers to lose by 7 or more tonight, Hus. I agree with you. So I like this partner parlay. Yeah, no, I think it's good.
I guess because of the nature of the partner parlay, we'd have to have it on a half number. So I guess if we get a better number at 7.5, I wouldn't even mind. But
that's
maybe
fine. I'm okay with that.
Yep. We can go 6.5 and get the benefits. But yeah, Leafs money line, Oilers money line, Warriors -6.5. Let's get her done, and let's get back into the win column tonight.
I've already punched that into our odds makers before the boost. It's plus 433.
All right.
So you guys should get a pretty number on that. Before we get into the golf, because again, I totally agree with you guys. From the other again, I'm not weighing too much here on the Leafs. I'm just gonna sit on my couch. Well, I'm probably gonna stand. Let's be honest. I'm standing the whole game. With this Oilers game, there's a few angles and a few ways. I totally agree with you guys. Like, this is a game that your big players should step up and have big moments. And I think that McDavid, no doubt, is going to light it up. I love him over 2.5 points, but I think if you believe, you know, that he is going to step up big, well, I think that then obviously the Oilers are probably going to win. And we have a exclusive right now. McDavid to have 3+ points and Oilers to win at plus 230. So you're getting a much better number there. So if that's your narrative, if that's what you're rolling with, I think you got to take that one there.
The funny thing is, and I'm totally with you, and maybe that's the way I'll bet it instead. we did see back-to-back nights of a guy scoring 4 goals and their team losing last week in the playoffs.
Very true.
Well,
Very true.
I guess
Again,
it could
The
happen.
second round has been so
Yeah.
weird, man.
Yeah, but I'm sort of with you. I mean, listen, we've kind of talked about it. I think McDavid is the driver tonight, and he is the guy, is the reason why they get over the hump. If you think he has the big game, they probably do win. So plus 230 probably makes a lot of sense.
Might as well just hit my exclusive here while we're Patty. Just quickly on that one, plus 625 when it opened. Over 5.5 goals tonight. Oilers win in regulation. Draisaitl and McDavid both to score, and Bouchard with a point. So, I mean, a lot of that could get taken care of on the power play, assuming they get some. So you can find that in the Lock Shop exclusive section, where our other one that we just built will be available as well. What else do you got over there?
That was very close to the winning combo on Saturday, by the way. Those 3 individuals were all prominently involved.
So no exclusive on this one, but I think it was, evidently clear. One of the nice storylines from a national perspective, at least, I know the people in Edmonton have been seeing, or even anyone who's been watching it, is the emergence of Bouchard this season and how well he's played on that power play, especially in the postseason. He stunk last game. He was really bad, really, really bad last game. If this offense is going to come to life, he's going to have to be, a big part of it. For him to get an assist right now, minus 136. I like that number. I also actually like him to record over 1.5 points at plus 230. And then the other one as well. And Dusty, you've been, just hammering this all playoffs long. Actually,
power play goals.
Power play goals, minus 118. What are we doing here, guys? That is automatic. I'm shocked we're not seeing that number high. Maybe it's the way the refs are calling it and how Edmonton, is struggling to draw penalties, but I think that's got to be the game plan tonight for the
If they get 4 power plays tonight, they'll score 2 power play goals. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And that, of course, Golden Knights, Oilers penalty kill's not hot shit either. So I love that bet. Yeah. I mean, we've been hammering that. We've been hammering the shit out of that for a long time now. That's for sure.
That's I think that's the equivalent of our
field goal.
3.5 field goals.
Our field goals. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right, let's flip over to Byron Nelson. Hus, you got anything left on hockey?
Well, I was just going to say, the boys work fast. It is already up, and the bet is already in. The Lock Shop Partner Parlay,
Let me do
plus
this as
500.
Well. Hello.
Get on it now before too many people jump on it. Warriors minus 6.5. Leafs money line. Oilers money line in the Lock Shop section in the Coolbet exclusive.
Man, plus 500. That's a nice number right there.
That is right beside Dusty's plus 625 banger for the Oilers in-game exclusive.
And I am on it. Perfect. All right. Thanks for the heads up there, Hus. Lock that in now. All right, Patty, let's flip over to golf buddy Byron Nelson this week. AT&T Byron Nelson. What do you, I mean, you must have some exclusives obviously here, but what do you like and who's jumping off the page for you this week?
This one's kind of interesting to me because again, it's not the best field. It is nuts looking at the odds. Kind of reminds me of what tournament was it a couple of weeks ago?
Mexico Open.
Yeah, the Mexico Open. Same thing. Scotty Scheffler is getting the Mexico treatment for John Rahm, plus 375. I know I said about a month ago, if Scheffler, Rahm are in the field, I'm going to bet one of them. I can't just swallow an outright winner at only 375. I think the play there is if you really like Scotty, wait and live bet him, after round one if he's just okay. Again, you're still probably not going to get a good number. Guys who I'm looking at, Tom Kim. I know you guys have waxed poetically about him on this program. I think, his form is coming into shape. He certainly struggled at the start of the season, but I think he's starting to heat up. And just with the strength of field, I like where his game's at. Jason Day, this guy has been a top 10 player in every single stroke gain analytics that you look at pretty much since February. He just hasn't been able to win. He's had some great finishes. I know he missed the cut last week, but before that, it was 8 straight cuts made for Jason Day. I think we're seeing a resurgence here. And at 18-1, I would have much preferred to get him before Spieth got out because you would have got a better number at him. So I like him there. Seamus Power I really like as well at 40-1. Finished T17 and T9 here in previous years. In the entire field, he's second strokes game per round in Birdie Fest over the last 2 seasons. So I like him there as well. And then a little bit of a long shot. Dylan Wu, 100-1. We followed Dylan Wu around at the Texas Valero Open. He was playing with Taylor Pendrith. He was a rookie the same year Taylor was last year. Talked to his family, really started to like this guy. But okay, it's not just because I like the guy, but also he's sixth in birdies gained over the last 36 round in this field. He's got a great ball striking. He's got a hot putter right now. And if you look at the last few events, finished T21, T15, T16, and then at the Players, he finished T35 at a really, really good field. So I like him at a little sprinkle at 100-1. Why not? But I really like his top 20 number at plus 280.
Dylan Wu. I had him in my DraftKings lineup last week, so I was following him throughout the weekend. And I had a couple of guys that disappointed. He was not one of them. And you're right, Pat. He's been consistently cracking top 20s. And this players like that, this is the perfect field for one of them to pop. Now, you'll got to hope that Scotty Scheffler isn't a game Scotty Scheffler, because obviously he's on another level than everybody else in this tournament. But like we saw last year with KH Lee winning at 100-1, it was the longest shot on the entire PGA Tour this year. This is an opportunity for somebody that maybe is far less of a household name to jump up and get a win and book a ticket to the Masters.
How many exclusives you got set up, Patty, for this?
Lots.
Is it like 7 or 8 or something? Isn't there? Like, there's a bunch.
Yeah, I think it's 8. So we have our usuals, any Canadian to place in the top 10 at plus 250, any Canadian to finish in the top 5 plus 1,000, plus 5,000 for any Canadian player to win, Scheffler to finish top 10, and Hatton to finish Scheffler top 5, Hatton top 10 plus 475.
I like that
Aussie
one.
Flavor. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's a good
Aussie
one.
Flavor, Day and Scott both to finish in the top 10 plus 1,000. Some more Canadian content. 11-1 for Hughes and Hadwin to finish in the top 20. Matsuyama and Siwoo Kim top 20 plus 900. And then, of course, last but certainly least, the Greggy Golf Special. Scotty Scheffler top 10 and Tom Kim top 20. You get that at plus 200.
All right.
I don't mind riding with that one. That's for sure.
Hey, Pat, you relaxed this afternoon, hey, buddy? I know it's a big night for you, so what are you going to say, Hus? What are you going to say?
What have we got? 5 hours, 6 hours to puck drop tonight?
So here's the thing, this is why they're probably going to win. Everyone's given up, including myself. Same old Leafs.
Suck you back in, buddy.
And they're going to suck us right back in till maybe game 6. And then get the absolute wheels beaten off, and then we're gonna be okay. Here we go.
Listen, as long as they're there for the partner parlay tonight, we'll
that's all
we all ride with the Leaf. Hey, before you go, how's Jake? How's Jake handled the last week?
He's probably not handling it very well. Eh?
He's in a dark place.
Honestly, I was thinking, I'm like, maybe I'll let Jake come on the program, but he's so unhinged right now. Like, I know this is a YouTube and a social media. I don't even think I could trust him on these airwaves right now. He is just gone absolutely nuclear.
As a representative of the company, he's off all public appearances until minimum a week after the Leafs are out of the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
His passion is absolutely tremendous. I love it. All right, Patty. Well, good luck for the Leafs tonight. Hopefully they get it done for our parlay, and we'll catch up next week, man.
Thanks, Pat.
Absolutely. Cheers, boys.
Hey, that's Pat Gregoire from Coolbet. Find him on Twitter at P. Greggy. He does some great work with the NLL coverage across that league and on the TSN as well. All right, Hus, where are you going here? Tom Kim. I'd love to see a Tom Kim win here. This would be great.
Me too. This is as good of a number as I've seen anywhere out there. I've seen him at 15-1. I've seen him at 17. Coolbet has him at 18. That is sort of the way that it goes. Coolbet actually has some really good numbers. I'll just show the comparison when I'm making my picks. But yeah, I think Tom Kim's feeling it. He's back in the top 20 or 25 at the Quail Hollow. And again, this is a really, really weak field minus Scotty Scheffler. He's a winner before, and I think that he's, he has this sort of game. If his iron, this is a place where you need to have a complete game, but your approaches and irons are so important. And I think that he's getting back to a situation that he's going to be dropping a few more and giving him more chances for birdies. And we've all seen Tom Kim. I mean, when he starts feeling it and having fun out there, he can be real dangerous. So I love Tom Kim. Oh, and by the way, here's another narrative for you. Koreans have won this event 3 straight times. You had KH Lee going back-to-back, missing one of the years because of the pandemic, and Sung Kang before that. So if you like tradition and history, Korean flag at the top of the leaderboard, and no better Korean than Tom Kim, although you could make an argument for Si Woo, who pops every now and then as well, and I think he's at 40-1. But we're rolling with Tom Kim, a lock shop favorite. This is a good spot to get him back on the card. Now, Adam Scott is a guy that has been doing everything right except for some of his sort of mid-range irons. And, this is sort of a bet on Adam Scott, kind of figuring that one thing out and making the most of the rest of what he's done. I think he was 5th at Quail Hollow. I mean, he has been playing some pretty darn good golf. And you know what? If it wasn't for a 71 in the 4th round, he might have even been higher. But a T5 at a loaded field at Quail Hollow, I thought was, maybe a nice indication of where Adam Scott's game is right now. And let me just confirm this, because I'm pretty sure, that number actually isn't 30-1. If I gave it to you wrong, it's 35-1.
Oh, wow.
And Adam Scott's 30, 28 on a bunch of other sites. Coolbet right now has Adam Scott at 35-1. So if you like Adam Scott, definitely Coolbet is the place to drop it on. So we've got Adam Scott at 35-1. And I was looking at a bunch of other guys that had made picks, and the value play on my card is going to be the man, Hollywood Hoagie.
He was popping up a few places, wasn't he?
Fargo, North Dakota's own. You know what? Hoagie, won Pebble last year. He's coming off a couple missed cuts. So I think that's why this number, like in this field, he should be 30-1, like along with some of those other guys, considering where he's played and how he's played and won in the past. People are off the scent of Hoagie. I think he's set for a nice weekend, and too good of a number not to jump on at 50-1 for a guy that has won. This isn't just a guy that has contended a few times. He has won before on the PGA Tour. So the 50-1 on Hoagie was too good to refuse. But the two main bets, not necessarily value plays, although I do like the numbers. I think we've got the best number on the books at Coolbet. Tom Kim 18-1 and Adam Scott at 35.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Hoagie and that number, because when you sent them over, and I've been doing a few for a couple of places I go and read previews and stuff, and when I saw the 51, I was like, what? Hoagie's at 50-1? Like, everybody's saying a lot of good things about him this week. So from a value perspective, I do really like
with
that.
This field. Like with this field, like I could understand him being 50-1 a Quail
with like a close to a full field. Yeah.
I mean, it's Scotty Scheffler and a bunch of other guys basically. So, anyways, I love the 50 on Hoagie. Hopefully, he'll be in the mix.
I'm going to go with Tyrrell Hatton, who's second on the list here, obviously behind Scotty Scheffler, but at 14-1. All three of the guys I'm actually on played relatively well at Quail Hollow. Tyrrell Hatton finished 3rd at Quail Hollow. We know, I mean, you've been on him a few times, Hus. I've been on him a few times as well. There's no surprise that he's up near the top of the list this week. When you look at the field that is here, this is the type of field that, if Scheffler has any sort of bumps along the way, I think Hatton can kind of slide in there and be the guy. So he's been relatively consistent so far this season. Hasn't played this course before, which would be a little bit of a concern, but he's been steady Eddie for quite some time here. So I'm going to go Hatton at 14-1. And then this is crazy, because KH Lee's trying to do something that hasn't been done in like 90 years to win their first 3 events all at the same course. But he's won here twice, and he's coming off a T8 last week. So played extremely well last week. Didn't win it, so he didn't jinx the possibility of winning his first 3 events here at this course. I just love the fact that he's playing well coming into a course that he can't possibly have any more confidence anywhere else than he does here, right? So
back-to-back winner.
Yeah, it's tough, but at 25-1, I was like, Okay, at 25-1, I can swallow a guy trying to make it three in a row. So I'm going to get on Lee at 25-1. And then Seamus Power. Now, he was 18-1. I was happy that Pat brought him up, too. I was like, okay, good. I'm not the only guy on here. He finished 18th at Quail Hollow. So he wasn't up in the top 10 like Hatton and Lee. But this is a guy who's had success, not the ultimate success that he'd be looking for here, but he's played well the last couple of years. He's finished T9, he's finished T17, and he's averaging 67.5 for a score over those two tournaments. So, there's been a little bit of buzz around him. I think we've discussed him a couple of times this season, but at 40-1, I the Hoagie 50-1 number I do like, maybe a little bit more, but I think 40-1 for Power here is pretty good.
Hey, Power, listen, this is the sort of a tournament it seems like a Seamus Power would be perfect to go in and be right there on Sunday afternoon. I mean, I just want to jinx Scotty Scheffler and hope that he, for whatever reason, he's around folks at home, family, other things, does not have his A game, and give us a whole bunch of wild cards at some bigger numbers, sniffing around for a championship on Sunday afternoon. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about KH Lee on Sunday as well. As they say, Koreans own the Byron Nelson. 3 consecutive picks. Let's add Tom Kim to the group this year. But hey, this year, maybe it's KH Lee. As I said, Siwoo Kim's at 40-1 if you do like. And don't be confused about Minwoo Lee, not Korean, New Zealand. So, but definitely a guy I considered maybe putting a little sprinkle on as well. Don't ruin the party, Scotty. Save it for the next major.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Lock Shop. Got the Byron Nelson picks in. Huge night for the Leafs and the Oilers. Got a wonderful text from Pat earlier in the week talking about CFL futures, Canadian Football League futures, Hus. That's on the schedule this week, buddy. We got to get to that.
Well, I am literally Bomber rookie camp opened up today.
Yeah, Elks too, yeah.
I'm staring at the Bombers win totals right now. I'm looking at the Bombers at plus 240 to win the Grey Cup. Clearly the favorite right now. If you do want to go get a bit of a head start before we make our picks, totals are up on all of the teams in the CFL for their win totals. You've got most outstanding player odds right now. A couple of other interesting window props for Bomber wins. And then BC, every team exact number of wins in a bit of a window: 0-3, 4-6, 7-9, 10-12, 13-15, 16-18. So we'll talk most outstanding player, get a few wins, and actually, Dusty, by the way, if you're watching us live right now, Dusty's going to jump on with us in about 45 minutes or so when we're live on Winnipeg Sports Talk, and we will certainly talk Oilers about this matchup, but maybe a little bit of a look ahead to the CFL season too. Can't not make the most of my time with the voice of the CFL out in the West, right?
No, I look forward to doing that, buddy. That should be pretty good. So, we're hopping on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, so make sure you check that out. If you're watching on Twitter right now, enjoy those 2 huge hockey games tonight. It's going to be a weird feeling if the Lakers actually pull off a win tonight because they advance, but they kill the partner parlay. Especially, I love when you pull out a lock of the century of the week, buddy. And I think that's how that game goes tonight. I know it. When you sent me that text, I even said I was sitting at work with Eric and Awanik. I said, "Holy shit, Hus has a lock of the century of the week. This is amazing." So it should be good. Enjoy those games tonight. Lock Shop will be back with you tomorrow morning. Hus, we'll talk to you a little bit, bud.
Okay, Canadian teams, don't disappoint your fans and don't disappoint us. Plus 500 in the exclusives. It's up right now.